A.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for attending our AGM this evening. It's great to see such a good turnout. We always do worry a little bit that when there's a great big turnout, it means that people have got lots to complain about, but I hope you're going to prove me wrong about that. So welcome everyone. Are there any apologies that we need to note? Natalie?
Ryan sent his apologies.
Yes, and I got a message from Michael Capella as well. Are there any other apologies to note? No.
Do you want to speak?
I beg your pardon?
Can you all hear on this side?
Yeah, I think we're small enough, and if we project and do all our breathing exercises like we were taught at school, we should be just fine. So thanks for everyone. You will have seen in the notices that there are no reports being presented this evening. Those have all been available online for the last couple of weeks. And we thought we're going to save the planet, not kill too many trees, so you would have been able to read them. And I just want to say, with respect to all of those reports, thank you so much to the committee who served this community so well. All the committee members are gainfully employed, they all have day jobs, they have children, they're studying, they're all a combination of those. And they really have given of their time as much as they've been able to. So thank you to everyone in the committee, to Paul for looking after Verity Park, Marius for the safety and security, to Jacques and Natalie for environmental matters, Chris for keeping us on the straight and narrow with compliance and legal matters, that sort of thing. Andrew over there is our money bags. He makes sure that everything is correct and well done. We've got Greg and we've got Catherine looking after our building controls, so needs all of those sorts of things, and hopefully making sure that our neighbourhood, while it continues to develop, is well maintained as a residential area. So thank you to all of them. Have I missed anyone out?
Thank you to Cheryl.
Oh, and Kundai has done some magnificent work for the school, so to him as well as his absence. Thank you for that. Shall we wait just while a few more people get? Very good. All right. Anyone else? Oh no, there's space down the back. Absolutely. All right, I'll just hit the pause button for a moment. Okay, we are going to be passing around the attendance register, so if you've not yet signed, please do so. Welcome this evening specifically Cousin Bravo from Parkhurst Village, so thank you so much for attending. And as soon as we've done a little bit of the MOTH, we will get to you, and I'm sure that our community will be very grateful to hear what you have to say. So thank you. Right. I want to propose a motion, please, to receive and hopefully have approval for the financials that were presented on the website. Are there any issues that people would like to raise from having read the financial statements? Fair enough. Andrew, do you need to make would you like to make any comments regarding our financial position? Give people the overview.
Yeah, maybe just an overview. So from the financial status, the Resource Association is quite healthy. So we've got sufficient cash in the bank to cover our I'm just saying up 2 seconds. For litigations, anything like that. So we've got 100,000 per weight for that. That's ring fence for litigations. We've got 75,000 rand. Apologies. We might need to fix that.
We didn't realise that the bar drinks are quite so strong.
And as I said, we've got got 75,000 bucks ring fence for working capital, so the normal day-to-day business. And then we've got from an unallocated pot of money, we've got 370,000 rand for that. Okay, and that is the Praboa side of things. Okay, and then from the security side of things, we call it the safe parks, the public space security. We've got reserves in that area as well. So we've got 165 from a working capital point of view. We've got 175 for the December peak period for extra patrols and those type of initiatives. And then we've got just under 200,000 unallocated. So from a financial point of view, we're quite healthy, and we've got sufficient reserves for if things happen. Okay. And obviously, from a committee point of view, these unallocated reserves, we want to use it potentially for the trees, the bugs in the trees that we might talk later on. Those type of things. So if we need to jump in and not inject a couple of trees, but treat some trees, we've got money to do it. Or if there's initiatives at the park, those things. So if you've got any ideas or anything that you think we should do in the community, please feel free to share those ideas with us. And I think from all the rest of the stuff, it's just boring stuff, so I'm not going to tell you how year on year the comparison is. You can have a look at all on the website, but just from a financial point of view, it's all healthy, there's no issues on that side. Okay. And the audit report, it was done by the auditing company, J. Tron and Peterson, and it's been signed off by the committee and it's published on the website as well. Okay. Any questions?
Just to reiterate what Andrew said, we do have a healthy pot of money, but we do realise that sometimes we need to spend a good chunk of money for a specific reason at very short notice, which is why we've got these reserves. So as Andrew mentioned, perhaps extra security during the December period when a lot of people are away. We all know that crime peaks at that sort of time. And really we're looking for the right sorts of projects. There are a few projects that we've conceived of, but we would like to get input from this meeting as well as to which direction you feel strongly about. So we didn't want to make a decision and then a month later the committee changes. We just thought, let's build up this pool. We're now in a very healthy position, but we also need to think very carefully about traffic calming's been a big thing, but the 200,000-300,000 rand that might be available, will get us very, very little in terms of road engineering costs. So it seems like a great deal of money, and especially coming from an organisation which was established a couple of years ago, and a few of us had some money together, and we had just about 1,000 rand to our name as an organisation. I think we've done very, very well, thanks to Andrew for looking after the finances. But we also need to realise that the projects that really need doing will cost an immense amount of money. So whatever we do, probably they're going to be fundraising initiatives around that as well. But thank you to Andrew for keeping it all so clear. I don't want to speak very specifically about any portfolios. We will have a question and answer session at the end. If you have any questions, please start thinking about them now. We define questions as short, succinct sentences with a question mark at the end. So please bear that in mind if you do ask any questions.
I didn't hear anyone actually proposing acceptance of
No, but we will be doing that. Yes. No. Okay, so please bear that in mind, having heard the financials that you have at the moment, and if there are any other questions and issues that you'd like to raise. Bear in mind our portfolios, besides the housekeeping issues, are zoning and town planning and building, environment, the school, Verity Park, and that's about it. I think, well, besides the housekeeping. So, yeah, and technical. We also need a communication specialist, very, very urgently, so bear that in mind. Right, having heard Andrew, is there somebody to propose that we pass the financials? Philippa, thank you. Anybody to second that, please? Oh, Dema. Okay, thank you. We'll consider that passed. Unless there are any comments or suggestions otherwise, we can leave it to the committee to select auditors for the next financial term. Are you happy with that? Anyone opposed? No. Thank you very much. Right, I think now we'd like to get on to the matter of security. I think that's been the biggest thing in the neighbourhood. It usually is, and at this time of year we're expecting an increase. Maris and Captain McGraw, would you like to come up and introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks.
Good
everybody. I'm Marius Homet. I look after the Safe Parks security portfolio, which can only exist with your contributions. Hopefully all of our contributors already to Safe Parks and hopefully Portec as well.
No, stop.
Must I stand right here?
Yes.
Okay. Before I'm going to say a few words, I would like to ask Colonel Dwaba, which is from SAP's Parkview Station. As you know, that Parkhurst is part of the area of governance and security, and we ask you just to come and say a few words that you think is very pertinent, and without bombarding and putting him on the spot. If you want to have got a few questions, you're allowed to do that. Thanks, Colonel.
Thanks, Marius. Good evening, everybody. As I've been introduced as Colonel Ledwaba, I'm the one who's Colonel Ledwaba here. I'm the one who's heading the VISPOL at Parkview. So I would say briefly, I'm the one responsible for doing the operations around our precinct, which one of the suburbs is Parkhurst. In Parkview, though Parkhurst is still a challenging, one of the suburbs challenging for me, there are two sectors, which there were four sectors before, since, well, part of Craigall, those Ellinghams have been taken by Rambek. We minimized it to two sectors, also to the staff which is there at Parkview. So, which one of it is Parkhurst as being in Sector 1, on which it comprises of three suburbs being Craigall Park, Parkhurst and Parktown North. As I said, one of the suburbs which is a challenging to me at the present moment, I'm not going to lie, is Parkhurst. Parkhurst, with the way it's faring on around the crime, I've got a problem with property crime, on which others which I don't know, which is a challenging to me, about people like residents who, it might be that they don't feel any more of reporting crime or they're tired of it, but of which those which I know is still a challenging issue, especially in theft of motorbike. We're trying as SAPS, in conjunction with our security officers or security companies, and also the residents who are eager to come forward, especially with the security of Parkhurst as it is. But my challenging issue here is people who are reluctant to report crime. Most of them, when inquiring, either it's about the process of the court, which is taking time for them, or either they don't rely into the police. But what we see it fit is that whatever crime is being happening around you or around your neighbor or neighborhood, can you please come forward and report it? Reason being, it's not that it's going to be solved at that time. But when things are happening on a positive note, that crime, that particular crime which can be solved, it can prevent more crimes being happening. Than that, you don't report that crime. That's where I'm just appealing to the residents. Because as I'm talking now, I've got an issue where there is a crime which happened, on which I heard it today. It happened a week ago and somebody didn't report it. But now that you saw this person, that's when you want to report it, because you've seen this person. Remember that you might see that person now. But if the document were not being reported that time, how do you link that person? You might say, I can identify him now as you see him now, but if you never ever made a statement of identification in the first place, how is it going to be a court process in that instance? So it's the only appeal which I'm making, but mostly make use of the security personnel, since we have got panic buttons, most of us. We are contracted to security officers, those on which they can manage the situation at that time until we come if we are not there at that moment. I think, if I may say, the security officers are there always assigned to a specific suburb than I being assigned at 3 suburbs in one sector. That's where I'm just going to appeal for the residents. I'm not saying don't phone the police. Phone the police. But we have to make use of the preventive measure, because they are there at any given time, not like me who's standing in a crime scene where it can take me the whole day depending on the crime scene which I am. But with the security personnel, as they are assigned to each and every suburb, I believe, as I'm working with them, I believe it can be preventable. And also with us residents, being an eye to my neighbor here who is sitting next to me, who's gonna also be an eye to other person who's sitting next to him, I think we can come up with something better than we didn't do it. This is my appeal. Also the issue, I'm just concerning in Parkhurst, but this one is not gonna be about the residents. It's about the businesses around in Parkhurst. If the businesses or business people or business forum come up with the Residents Association forum and form some part of partnership, because the businesses are in Parkhurst, not so. So they form part of Parkhurst. To me, it's all about Parkhurst. Because where I'm looking at the crime, it's around those areas. And if those people can be around those areas on which they are the people who are coming from outside coming to our area, and if ever the security personnel are flocked to that area, then they're going to go where? To the outside skirts of that business place where it is the residents. I'm still going to go to the business forum, but also I'm appealing to the residents as such. And if you are one of the, you've got a business around, can you help me out on that? So that we form a partnership. Please, this is my appeal as well. Because this is what I saw. It's not that the crime is so big in that because of what we're looking at. If we're focusing especially around the businesses, remember the businesses is where most of the people are going. But when we are there as well, that's where the people are going on the outside of the business area. And where is it? Is it in your houses, in your homes? Okay, that's my appeal so far. Any question I may ask? Yes, sir.
This is unfair,
Come again?
It's unfair.
Yes.
We had 4 sectors with 2 vehicles per sector. If we have 4 vehicles per sector, now that we've got 2 sectors.
Yes, you can say it's unfair. With the human resource, we also depending on the national, as we can see, also with the development pathways having, most of the people are being promoted, I would say, and they are not replaced, unfortunately. Even today, as being the acting personnel there, I also made a request, because when I looked at the current promotion which are going on, pathway is not being catered. So I'm looking at the second phase, which might be coming on November. I did put where there is a shortage, where I see there's a shortage of staff, because you can see that it's not that we can say don't go. If they're promoted, they're promoted. So I know that's why it's also a period on that. We also engage in the cluster, but now I didn't engage the cluster, because it's about what is needed at Park. So I just forwarded a list of the spaces which needs to be occupied, so that we can still, though we're still having those extra vehicles of the sector managers, the crime prevention, and us sometimes we need to go out and see what is happening. Because I can't be running or planning what I don't know. So somewhere, somehow, we do still have extra vehicles when we go. But with the sectors, yes, I do agree with you. I've got more suburbs than what I can imagine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I would just like to say thank you because I have used Parkhurst Police Station a couple of times in the last couple of years, and I think it's a very pleasant police station to participate with. Thank goodness I haven't had to report a serious crime, and for that I'm deeply grateful. But in the way that I have interacted, it's been a very pleasant thing, and I have noticed over the last couple of months an increased presence of police vehicles in our suburb. So I would just like to say thank you for this.
Thank you, Philip. I think we all echo that.
Okay, no, yeah. Well, to me it's not enough, but
Yeah, no,
it's enough for you.
But thank you because I have a good relationship with my police station, which many people can't say, and so that is a good thing.
Thank you very much.
Colonel, will you be staying for the meeting? And if people have other questions, will they be able to ask you, or do you need to run and attend to nefarious parts of the community? Okay. Are there any other questions, as the Colonel obviously has some fairly important things to attend to, which we'd like to see him attend to as well?
Let's invite me out.
Colonel, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll have issues coming up from time to time, at least now people put a face to the name. And we'll feel comfortable going to Parkview to speak to you if they need to.
Please, people, about crime, I'm just appealing. There's no small crime, and crime is a crime. Please report it. That crime might be bigger or not small, but it might become and normally goes to bigger things. So I'm appealing to you to report it. Please. And also, whatever you see suspicious, please, I think you've got the sector phone numbers with you people. Just report it. Don't say it's not on my side. That's why I'm saying this person next to you, the one next to you, then we can make something a difference in our sound. Please.
Thank you. Colonel, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay.
Morris, would you like to speak?
Thanks. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because please go read the full report on our website. But I think a lot of us never get to reading these reports. I want to highlight a few basic principles. Currently we've got about 850 people subscribing to the Safe Parks Park 6 scheme in Parkhurst. It sounds a lot. There's 2,200 houses and over 200 businesses in Parkhurst, so it's not even 40%. We've done a lot of analysis and talking to other community safety schemes in Johannesburg and elsewhere. And the successful ones are 65 to 80% of the community who subscribe and support the local scheme. If we can get up to those numbers, we can have so much more security patrolling in our area and other security initiatives. And that's what we need to get to. So please sign up if you haven't. Talk to your neighbors. It doesn't help just to say that I pay another armed response company and I've been doing it for the last 10 years and I feel too bad to cancel it. They don't do what us, through our service provider, Contact do to the community to keep it safe. So please ask yourself why you're not contributing to fees. Unfortunately, our fees have to go up from 1 November. We've negotiated with Contact and the best that we could do is to take it up to about 6.5%. So the combined PSS, it's your public space debit order to Safe Parks, as well as your Contact one, will be 799 Rand. We benchmark that against all other increases. We think it's very reasonable. And why is it going up? Because remember, the salaries of Contact staff went up between 6.7 and 7%. Fuel has gone up tremendously. And they patrol 24 hours a day, burning those cars. The other armed response companies sit there on the Verity Park on one of those trees and wait for your home alarm to go off. So you should not pay them a lot if you do support them. Andrew also referred to our reserves. Why do we have such a substantial reserves? We are going to launch additional security during December crime period. We know that from mid-November until Christmas time, unfortunately every year crime is going up. So we've allocated additional money to add to the security initiatives there. We've also signed a 24-month contract with a number plate recognition system which we've installed, which is very successful. It's one of the contact patrol vehicles, and we had to keep a provision for that liability until it's deemed off. And then we also provide for 1 month of operational expenses. That's it, that's all our money. So we need more money to launch more security initiatives. The Colonel has spoken about car guards, because I know you guys are going to ask about that. We are engaging with businesses. Unfortunately, the solution we thought was the best to implement is for them just unaffordable, so they are looking at alternative solutions, and they formed a new body, 4th Avenue Trade Association, basically to look at those initiatives. So we're really hoping for the community that they are going to be successful in launching something, and clearly we as Safe Parks will support whatever they're going to do. What can you do as an individual? You have to sign up. Sign up to Safe Parks and consider to switch your armed response company also to contact, because both contributions goes into the pot to pay for security stuff. Sign up to your street WhatsApp group. You all see Lynn Rustin's emails. Follow that link, sign up, get our weekly newsletters so you can become engaged. As the Colonel said, report all crimes. If you see something funny in the street, from the contact number you should have it on your phone. If there's an actual crime, you have to go and report it to get a case number. The National Police will only give us more resources in Parkview if there's more crimes reported with case numbers. Otherwise, they think the suburb is safe. Why should they give us more resources? We have to go and do that. Join our Facebook, Safe Parks Parksec. Upgrade your security solutions. From our interactions with the people in the suburb, it's scary sometimes how bad your security is. Whether it's your electric fence, your alarm, beams, overgrown bushes on your pavement or on your perimeter, you need to assess your security. Contact can help you with that, or any other company that you want to get in. But really take a look around and jack up your security. People should not be able to get in with you not being alarmed to that. And then also attend our hijack training sessions, our domestic training session. We've done 2 recently for your domestic cleaners and gardeners, which is very valuable for them. On Saturday afternoon at Verity Park, we are going to have anti-hijack training. I think it's 5 o'clock. Lynn will in any case post it again this week. Please attend that. You will pick up some very valuable information there. And we're happy to launch more of these initiatives that you guys can attend. But most important is become engaged and sign up. Otherwise, it doesn't help to sit here and moan about the crime is so bad if you don't contribute. You do pay in any case somebody for security. Thank you.
Thank you, Morris. Are there any questions? Bearing in mind short, succinct statements with a question mark here.
I wasn't aware that the car guards. Now, did you say that the businesses are looking at a solution there?
Yeah,
what is happening about the rest of the solution? Are we just going to sit and wait then for them to come up with something, and just leave them where they are?
Well, we've been engaging them since we started November last year, but from January this year we've had ample meetings with them about solutions. I cannot use just the residents' money here to pay for permanent patrols in 4th Avenue to sort out the car guards. We just don't have the money. The business has to make a contribution. And they've agreed to that. They just don't seem to find enough money to launch something adequate. But as we're talking right now, they are working on alternate solutions. There are some of us on the committee are working together with them. So hopefully jointly we can find a solution. What we have done from our viewpoint is we've added, as you would have seen, with your money, thank you, an additional strike vehicle. So we've got 2 24-hour vehicles in Parkhurst and 1 strike vehicle who are concentrating a lot of crime hotspots, and a lot of that is around the car guards and 4th Avenue. So we do from our side do as much as we can, and that you probably would have seen that the incidents touchwood has been a bit less than they used to be, but we can never with just patrols sort out all the car guard and car theft incidents. It takes them 20, 50, 40 seconds to steal a polo takeaway in Parkhurst. There's no ways that we can be there where the polos park. There's 10 to 20 polos parked on certain days in Parkhurst. How do we guard them? Equally valuable. So up there, I walking on the street. 10 cars had stuff lying in their cars visible. I could see through the window. It's an invitation to break a window and run. We should not do things like that. So we as Safe Parks cannot protect everybody's cars and the stuff inside their cars.
Thank you, Marius. I think that's an important thing, is that we've got to balance very carefully the resources that we get from the community in order to protect the community broadly, and also look at 4th Avenue as a business hub and say, you know, how much needs to come from them to help sort out the problem that is there because of businesses. I'm not blaming businesses. I'm not saying they're not valuable. They do add an immense value to our neighbourhood, but there needs to be a bit of a match in terms of efforts and funding and so on.
Sorry, can I ask you regarding the car guards and the parking? They are instructing people to park on the, outside Hudson. Instead of parking horizontally, they're parking vertically. Surely you could phone JMPD or whatever they call to come to tow chat and just take them away. I mean, that would discourage the guards to, the car guards to let people park like that.
Well, obviously, the Colonel's not here anymore. We attend the weekly meetings and court takers as well, where we discuss all these type of crimes, and JMPD should be better attending the meetings now than they used to. There's also a monthly meeting where we discuss these safety. And car guards is every month on the agenda. Not only here, Greenside, Parkhurst, everybody complains about the zoo like it. We're all complaining, but there's nobody who's got enough resources to deal with that. I know that's not the answer you want to hear.
No, definitely
but we'd like JMPD to be here every day and help us to enforce the bylaws.
I mean, surely if they impound people's cars,
Look, it has to be reported.
They impound people's cars, they're going to discourage people to park illegally.
Yeah.
I live in 14th Street and I drive down there. You've got to go over the speed bump, hit the under of your car, because they're telling people to park off in the street.
One thing is people, what might help also is to go and open a complaint at the Parkville police station. Tim, I don't know if you want to add to that matter as well, because the more of these reference numbers we've got, the more it can help our case.
I'd just like to add to that. I think it's all about our responsibilities as well. If we're directed by a car guard to park in a particular way that's wrong, we need to say no. And when we see parking like that, we need to have it reported. So, you know, courts type, say, through Safe Parks or any of the committee members can't be patrolling streets days and nights. It's all our responsibility to make sure these things are reported.
When you tell the car guard, why did you tell him to park? They said, no, it wasn't me, he just parked.
Exactly. But it was the driver who elected to park in that manner.
In that manner, yes, because the car guard instructed him to park.
No, but we don't need to listen to the car guard telling us to do something that's not correct. Please, so
I
all
don't
participate. At the back, Glenn.
Not an SAP issue, it's a
JMPD
issue to buy law.
Correct.
And I think after the last CPF meeting, I think Tim is negotiating with JMPD.
Yeah.
But they will not be here everyday parkers. That's a pipe dream. That's how they resources.
Tim, do you need to comment?
Just they just haven't got the staff. They don't have the vehicles towed, so you're not going to get that happening. I think in Rosebank at the security meeting today, there's an agreement that they'll come twice a week to Rosebank, and that their parking issues are really severe and problematic. There's 1,500 being trained at the moment. When they come on, when they are fully trained, it takes about 18 months. Then we will probably see more JMPD available to us, and we'll see more. They'll be keener. The ones who are now are like old school, lazy, slack. So the new ones will be keener. They'll be willing to come out. But there is a definite improvement in the JMPD lately, and we must try. You know, there's no reason why. If you see something really bad, I mean, not like one or two cars, but something really bad, you can just contact me, and then I can bring a JMPD out. We'll tell them. Trouble is, they always come too late.
Yeah.
So the car's gone, or the music stopped. And that's the problem. If we can pick a pattern up at another certain time, or early evening, then we can give them an hour or so to get out there. And it's always dependent on what's going on in Westbury, or what's going on at an event somewhere, or what's going on elsewhere in Soweto, because they get pulled to different places. But one thing, Morris, you were with me when we launched the Rosebank car guard scheme. And we're watching that very carefully. They've got 20-odd car guards who are being trained to be car guards, who are being crim checks, so they're not criminals. They're getting ongoing training by the management district in Rosebank. And I think we're going to get them, what's a snap scan, so you can pay with a snap scan. because often we don't have coins and things like that. So that is quite a nice model that I'm watching and we're trying to develop. And we can maybe use that model down here. And those guys who are trained in Rosebank come down here and work and be part of the solution as well. So, and then new ones also go to Rosebank. And it'll be like a supply chain of proper car guards. And that's the first time it's really been done like that in a long time that I've seen.
I think, thank you, Tim. I think that's very useful. We're obviously not going to solve that issue here this evening, but if you feel a passion to get involved in this sort of thing, please step up, speak to Marius at the end of it all, because there are going to be people here with ideas who can help us find a way to make this work, a way that the traders are happy with, that the car guards who are already here, who are, some of them are doing a good job to encourage those sorts of car guards, so please, do step up at the end. I think unless there's a pressing matter, we can move on to the next issue. Another security issue, because I think we can put the car guards to bed for the moment. Yes, at the back.
One thing I've noticed, the street lights are erratic in Parkhurst.
Yes.
And darkness brings crime. Can we do something to, like they did in Parkview, to get those street lights working? Because you report it, a week later the things are out of order. They're not being fixed properly, and one night the light will be on, the next night it's not. I've been hijacked outside my house because the street light was dark. And I just think criminals like darkness, we need to report street lights and have somebody in the day where we can make sure they're all working.
Yeah, that is certainly an ongoing issue, and again, it's all of us. When our street light is out, it's all reported. It's a squeaky wheel sort of situation. I mean, obviously there can be a bigger project, a more formal project, but just like Colonel Ledwaba said with reporting things, let's keep reporting things so that they are high in the mind of the city. Then just Tim first.
Just to answer that, I heard in the press a couple of days ago that Herman Mashaba is putting about another 30 to 40 million rand a year into the streetlights. And he did a big thing in Soweto where he went out there. But what I have noticed is we now have another streetlight team in our region.
Yeah.
The old one we had, he's now, John McWilliam, he's now doing the main arterials. And we have another guy who's running a streetlight team with guys under him. So it's not just one truck, it's several trucks. And they're dedicated streetlight trucks, as opposed to this big outage. What normally happens is they get pulled and go somewhere else. So I'm going to be running my next newsletter, kind of a look outside and log your streetlights, or your streetlights, if you want to go a bit further. And at least let's get them sorted. The problem is, yes, we don't have timers. They all need to be replaced. And that, I think, if we start logging streetlights on a regular basis, and it would be great to have somebody who actually takes charge of that. In Blackgowrie, they've got a guy who handles the city power stuff. He's an electrician, and every month or so he says, right, send me all your streetlight reference numbers and the address. And then he compiles a list and sends them off. So I mean, we need something along those lines. And then we can start lobbying for timers and lobbying for better cabling. And much as our other lights are always out, especially traffic lights, because of various issues, power supply problems, cabling problems, water, the street lights have suffered the same fate. They're very old, and the poles are rotten often, and the connections are loose and not waterproof.
Okay, so again, please, there are all these things we know they need doing. We need people to help us do it. You know, the 5, 6 of us that are on this committee, we just cannot do the whole thing. So please, when I call for volunteers, I hope to see lots and lots of hands going up. Glenn.
So many of the street lights are slow. If you see them, they like light grey plastic, and they come from China. So you put them in, and they last 6 hours and they blow. So we need to escalate this thing because they've got vast warehouses with Chinese street lights, and we need to look at the spec for the street lights. I did 3 street lights in one day the other day, green side, and they all blew as we put them in. So there's quality problems as opposed to service delivery. They do come in, they do change the street lights, but what they're putting in, and you'll see them all over Parkhurst, all over Greenside. It's like a grey plastic light, total thing is plastic, and they blow within 6 hours.
I think that's beyond our collective pay grade to sort out, but it's noted, and I think it's about us petitioning the city or speaking to the relevant people. It's about making a noise about these sorts of things. Chris.
Yeah. It's the same as the police ask about. Report it. Report every light outage, because that's the only way they can know. The other thing you have to do, please keep a history of your particular street light every time you have reported it, and when you report it, report the history by email if necessary, but especially so they will see a history. And I hope, it's only a hope, if they realise that they keep going on, maybe they'll do something.
Right. Okay.
Unfortunately, we can't.
Thank you, Matt. I think on the security thing, please, after the meeting, Marius will be here. Volunteers, please come forward and we'll deal with it then. While the Colonel was speaking, I received another apology from Rob Lang from NICE and Lang. So if that can just be noted, please. Right, we're going to have a brief question session on other matters. Please keep it succinct, and then after which we will call for volunteers. So prepare yourselves. Right, are there any questions on matters relating to other portfolios? Verity Park, the school, environment, building, communications, anything else that we haven't included at the moment. We know that there are loads of other things that could be managed by the committee if we had the resources to do it, and the resources are sitting here in front of me. Just bear that in mind. Nancy and Dave at the back.
And just to Nikhil as part of the environment.
So part of the environment work that we've done was a big clean out of the area between the 10th Street, by the 10th Street bridge with Holt Street. And there, to the right, it was an incredible mess with a lot of vagrants living there. City Parks actually came in and did an enormous amount of work to keep that area to clear it out, and we held our Spray Day initiative there this year as well. We have got a cleaning crew coming in now on a regular basis, that is a paid-for basis on every month. But it's actually quite a nice area that we can access and use. So I'm encouraging the residents to go and see. You will see a fair amount of dumping. We clean it as fast as it comes out. But it's an area that we should make more use of, and I'm just encouraging you to take a look, take a visit. Some nice birds, some nice area.
Thank you. And I think just to link up environment and security, the more we use our common spaces and our open spaces, the safer we make them by being in here. So let's not hide behind walls and glass and things like that. Let's walk, let's go to the parks, and let's claim them back. And I think that's true of everyone in the community, the people who work in our homes and our businesses and so on. We should all feel safe enough to go there. Right, so at the back, there was a question. Yes.
Can we work together with the Gazette to do something about people chopping down street trees? Because they seem to think it's their property and they can do what they like. And I had an issue with somebody, and he told me to F off.
Yeah.
Business, he's a tree.
Yeah, I think that is a sad thing. Please, to anyone who might be sitting here with ideas of chopping down street trees, they don't belong to you, they're common resources. You could be fined quite significantly for them. And, they hear they serve a purpose, they help reduce noise, they consume pollution, those sorts of things. For a multitude of benefits. Natalie, did you want to respond to that?
Emergency number. There's an emergency number that you can contact, and in the past they have come literally within half an hour, and they have stopped, that I personally know of, 3 trees being cut down in the last year.
Again, it goes back to reporting and having the right numbers. It will be available on our website as well. Natalie?
I do like the idea of working with the Gazette. They're always willing to work with us on campaigns, and I do have a contact there on the environment side, so please contact me and we can put a promotional article in with the contact details and things.
I'd just like to ask about. I'd like to ask about some of the restaurants, additional restaurants I see popping up. I did write, but I didn't get a response about the Leighton Morris one, whether the association has actually approved all these restaurants. And I see that there's sort of like a little takeaway place that has popped up next to Espresso, which I know didn't have restaurant rights. And I just don't understand what's going on
Okay,
with the restaurants.
for a main, those are zoning issues. So we've got 2 types of ways in which restaurants can appear in the neighbourhood. The one is where there have been properties that have been zoned residential, and then 10 years ago, and people have tried to apply for change in zoning rights, and there, for the most part, we've managed to stop all of those. Where we do see things coming up are where there are historic rights from years and years ago, so from the 50s, the 60s, and so on, and that is not something that the city has been open to stopping. So as much as we've tried and we've used the parking angle, and we have managed to prevent some restaurants from opening based on parking and so on, it's not something that we're able to do in every instance. It simply is a historic zoning issue. So let it also not be said that the committee is completely against restaurants. I mean, every single business property on 4th Avenue could be a restaurant if law enforcement was done properly, if people were kept to noise levels, if they were kept to, I've forgotten the word, the number of people who can be accommodated in a restaurant. If all of those sorts of things happened, in theory, you would be able to have many more restaurants, but unfortunately, too often patrons are not asked to, to keep it down when it gets late. They park badly, they make noise, they make mess, those sorts of things. It really is primarily a law enforcement and an awareness by the city of the impact of certain types of businesses on our community. We also have a very, very stretched infrastructure.
Those two restaurants were both residential. The Leighton Morris one was a residential site, the one across the road was residential, and the little takeaway joint is about to become, I'm sure, put some tables out.
The takeaway is not counted as a restaurant. It's ancillary retail. But that's its own. So under ancillary retail, that is allowed because it's not a sit-down restaurant. They're selling things.
And the health regulations are good about this?
I beg your pardon?
In terms of health? It's fine to have a...
Yeah, they could have
it's all been passed.
They've all got those things.
The city passed it.
So when they start putting tables out,
then that's an issue. Then that's the issue. That's my next week. So, I don't want to throw up my hands in despair and say, oh, there's nothing we can do. But I'm saying, legally, if there is a zoning that they can use in order to sell something which happens to be edible, they are within their rights to do so. On the property, what we're seeing is also, we have been engaging with the city because there have been issues of advertisements not being put up appropriately. It's incredible that not a single individual in the entire suburb saw any notice of things being advertised. We've taken that up with the city. We've got a town planner working with us. It's not stopped. So the best we can do now, given that the city, for example, has authorised restaurants, is the minute they go 1 inch over in terms of capacity or in terms of coverage or whatever, you call in the city to say they are contravening the rights that they've got. I don't want to say, sorry, there's nothing we can do. We want the right sort of businesses in our neighbourhood. We all want to support businesses that make our suburb a nice place to be. We want nice sorts of restaurants, but we want ones that respect the scale that needs to exist between a residential property and a business property. I think that's the important thing. Right, lots of questions, 1, 2, and 3.
Yes. I noticed the 5th Avenue Park Bridge has been put back, but not actually secured. Could you explain what's happening?
Quite simply, no. It certainly was nothing to do with us. I have no idea who
Has it just been taken away today? Somebody posted somewhere?
Oh, okay. Apparently it's been taken out today. I have no idea. Quite simply.
If it gets put up, it's informal. If it gets taken out, it's probably not informal.
I have no idea, sorry. We'd love to have seen that bridge stay. We had many meetings with city parks and their compliance people and so on. And they did say if they were to approve a bridge, that would be the sort of thing that they would approve. But, these things happen. Egos and characters sometimes don't align, and we simply fall out. So we are still trying to work on getting a replacement done. But it's going to be a long and potentially expensive exercise. Right.
Just a question around, you did mention that you're looking for a communications person.
Yes.
So I've lived here a little over 2 years. I must be honest, I've only recently joined Safe Parks. I still don't know the difference. I still don't know the difference between Safe Parks and the Residents Association. For 2 years, not one person has given me any indication or at least approached me to join. I'm just wondering if there's not any initiative that's ongoing to really drum up support.
I think we can say QED, probably. That's the best response that we do. We do need somebody to manage that. for exactly those sorts of reasons. Just very, very quickly, and Marius can explain further if necessary. Safe Parks is essentially a security subcommittee, if you will, of Praboa. So it's a ring-fenced entity that looks specifically at security on behalf of residents via Praboa. Okay.
Sorry.
We have regular posts on our WhatsApp group, 16th Street
Yeah.
WhatsApp group.
Yeah,
the last few months.
I think in terms of, if you want to attract people who are any kind of retail operation or a restaurant, you'd actively go out and market yourself, and that doesn't feel like that's happening. As a resident, like I said, for 2 years, there was never anything that really made me think.
Is that a volunteer right
Not my skill set.
No, but this is exactly the thing. We're all...
It's not a criticism. I think it was addressed. We would.
No, exactly.
I hope that we would have.
Exactly, and it's not misuse. It's just capacity issues. So, sorry. Yes.
Can I just respond to that as well? I deal with the architecture and building plans for the suburb. But as part of what we're doing at the moment is putting together a pack that will be distributed via estate agents, a welcome pack to new residents, so either renting or buying in the area, which will include details of what you need to do if you're developing your property or changing it in any way, but it will also have a section on parks or on Praboa and safe parks and how to get involved. And the idea is to give a welcome pack that will either be sent digitally or physically when you buy or come into the area, so it's a way of capturing new residents.
Yeah. I just explain one thing. I understood you to say you've been in safe parks for 2 years.
No, I've lived here for 2 years. I joined Safe Parks about 2 months ago.
Yeah, okay. That's wrong. We used to have a guy a committee member, who had a marketing flair, publicity flair. He left for Red Park Ridge, unfortunately. We need help. None of the committee members have that kind of flair. Help us, someone. Someone, please. You're right to criticise. We are not unaware of it.
Right, sorry, behind over there, and yeah.
I can't say for other WhatsApp groups, so I'm sure it's come up. So particularly in our 16th Street WhatsApp group, lately security issue, on and on, and it's been a real resurgence in the discussion around boomed off areas. And I know this isn't probably the first time this has been tabled. I was just wondering what would be the process around reconsidering that? Given that Marius told us earlier, 2 or 3 vehicles, even if it's 4 or 5, it's impossible to look after the whole suburb. They're chasing a car out there, meanwhile there's a polo stolen here. But we want to protect ourselves. If that's not a viable solution going forward, then we look at other things.
There is an entire city process, obviously, that needs to be followed in terms of moving off areas. I'd like to say we've always considered ourselves a partly open suburb. I think that's one of the really nice things, is that it's not this enclave in a gated community, and there are places where you can go if that's really the ideal thing. But we also have to be sensible about crime and the dangers posed. So it's about mediating and looking at what is necessary, what's going to be the most effective. It's been in terms of letters a number of times. I think we've still got it on our website as well in terms of the process that needs to be followed for moving off areas. It is a long process, it's an arduous process. Ideally, I don't want to see high walls, I don't want to see gated communities, I don't want to see peace with that. If I created my ideal world, there'd be none of that sort of stuff. But, we're living in the situation that we're living in, and we need to be sensible about that. So I think we'd like to find a solution that encourages people to come here, where people don't feel that they're being put under scrutiny if they're walking into our streets, but where we also feel safe. So I think that's a way to look at it. Sorry, Glenn, the back there.
Sure, can I just speak to that?
Sorry, Philippa, just
2 seconds. The bottom end of 14th Street has just gone through this exact process. If you'd like to speak to me about anything, I was on the organising committee, so I've got a lot of...
Okay, Philippa at the end.
Point made about victim support. I think we need to distribute the process and the numbers of our victim support, so we can help people get involved in these
victim support services available at
They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing.
and they really are incredible. So I think please bear that in mind.
Yeah, sorry, back to the booming question. I apologize for that.
Yeah.
I believe there's also another area around 1st and 2nd Street that's also being boomed off or has approval to do so. Tim mentioned it in our street group as well. So that means there's 2 groups that are now effectively...
We didn't do
We're not boomed.
Really not boomed, but
You're not
investigating.
going to... You're investigating. But should they do so, I assume that portion of the suburb will then eventually opt out of Parkside because they'll end up doing their own security solution.
I don't know.
Are you going to end up
This is a challenge.
slowly chopping off areas of Parkhurst and then...
That's the thing, is all you're doing is you're moving it somewhere else. And unless there's a community-wide solution, you're going to have this bitty situation. So we do need to find a community-wide solution that the most number of people are happy with. Not 100% of people will not be happy with a single
Of course,
solution.
no one's
That
happy
we
with
know. Natalie?
In answer to that, it's been very hard to convince our street who are paying for a proactive security solution for the street alone to pay for a proactive solution for the suburb as well. And it's an additional cost, but I must say that a chunk of them are, but a chunk of them aren't. So we face exactly that challenge.
And I think the important thing to know as well is when streets are boomed, you still, as a resident, any member of the public has a right to a public street. So I think that's very
But you actually can't stop anybody from going down a public street.
It's for vehicle access.
Yeah, but you have no idea how expensive it is.
Cheryl,
Yeah.
Cheryl,
Okay.
can I just add something to this?
Okay, sorry, Greg, can you speak up?
Can I just add, hi, view what you said. Can I just add something to this? I look after town planning in the area, also building in conjunction with Catherine. We are going to do a road study this year. We have a consulting town planner. They spoke about restaurants and things opening and so on and so on. We went through a very hard time because, as you know, we are all part-timers. And fighting rezonings requires a lot of skill, a lot of timing. The council is who you know and how you do things, and when you lodge your objections, how you do them, how you appear at the inspection in loco, on site and so on, which is very, very difficult for all of us to always be. So we've employed a town planner and we have spent a lot of money on dealing with certain matters. There are possibly proposed new restaurants that none of you know about, which we've actually fought and dealt with, and town planners dealing with that. Coming up to the roads thing, we have at committee level discussed this. It's nothing new to us. I have investigated Parkmore, which is the most successful one in Gauteng. You have free access in Parkmore. They've only just blocked off the escape routes. That's all they do. You go down the nickel and turn right at Fort Fury and hard left. That road is the escape route. And that they blocked. All the other streets are pretty free. So we want to do an overview of all of this because we've got bigger transport issues. We've got people coming through Craighall, doing the retro now, 17th, 19th. People will know who live in these streets. They then go to 4th Avenue, they then run down, and they hit 6th, and there's a bottleneck, and then my street, which is 5th. It takes them Shell Garage to get to the bottom, it takes you 35 minutes for me to get home, and that bottleneck then joins that lot, and it goes to Greenside. So we've got a traffic crossing issue because of all the new office buildings in Sandton and Rosebank. The pen pushers that live on the West Rand go down through Parkhurst, they come back through Parkhurst going to work the next morning. And we've got to deal with dispersing a bit of that traffic towards Greenside, and Greenside takes a little bit of the direction. So that's what we've got to try and look at. Cheryl's not wrong, you put the problem somewhere else, but it's got to find a happy medium. So we're going to look for money to do a proper road study because it is very intimidating and we'll see what we can do. But town planning, we're doing the best we can. And by the way, the little bit takeaway thingy, he has got rights to it. I've investigated with no seating. You can buy it, take it, walk away with it, stand and eat it there with no seating. That's clear to the council health inspector. That's fine. He's allowed to have it.
Thank you, Greg. I think, you know, the other important thing I just want to put out there is that Parkhurst is not this little enclave. We're part of the city, we're part of the old part of the city, and that is a big part of what makes Parkhurst an attractive location. So we want to find a way to exist properly within the city, and the city is densifying. all of these sorts of things are going to become more and more pronounced. You know, we need to think about keeping our pavements open so that people can walk on them. Do not plant things all over your pavements and not leave place for people to walk, push prams, that sort of thing. You need to be able to do that, and as the city encourages people to use public transport, we need to be able to walk from our homes to where the public transport pick up and drop off point is. So please think ahead. It's not just about me and my house and how pretty it looks when my friends come to visit. It's a public resource. We need to be able to do that. So, you know, bearing in mind all of that, people do need to be able to commute through our suburb realistically, not perhaps, you know, all the time, but we need to bear in mind that we are not an isolated enclave of the city. We are an intrinsic part of the city, and we should embrace that. Right, unless there are any other issues around this, I'd like to be able to bring that discussion back to afterwards when we talk about volunteers. Did you have a question? No? Okay. Right, next point of business.
Yeah, sorry. From the point of view that sometimes we don't see these council notices. If you see a council notice that goes up, there's a very short time to object. Take a photo of it and email it to whom? To you, Greg?
Okay.
No. All right, to Greg and Kathy. Kathy is architecture, Greg is heritage at Parkhurst Village. That way we know that something is going on, and we will try and see what we can do.
Thank you. I think to reiterate, please send to Greg and or Catherine. Also, if you can take a photograph of the sign showing clearly where it is, so not only the wording of it, but its position on the property. So thank you for that. Right, now, call for volunteers. I expect to see at least 20 hands going up. Is there anyone who would like to be involved? Anyone on board?
Do you proposal on the shot on board? Andrew mentioned it in the finance report.
Yeah, that's one of the projects. Do you want to just mention
No, I'm
that?
not driving that project at all. I just
Yeah.
really
Okay, well, we can call for somebody to manage that.
I would like to resign from the environment portfolio. I'm doing a crap job. Can somebody please take it over?
And if somebody doesn't take it over, all the trees are going to die from shot on water.
All the trees are going to die from shot on water anyway.
We have a lady here who would like to look at the writing of the side.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Sorry, I'm taking the notes, so I need names and details. Please come see me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other volunteers? You know, it's not a huge time commitment from a physical presence. You probably do 2 hours in a month physical presence, but then the rest of it is when you've got a gap in your schedule that you can steal 5 minutes to send off an email. So it's not onerous from a direct face-to-face perspective.
And we serve wine at meetings.
Yes, we do. Always if it helps. Thank you. And then she has Carol. I don't know. All right. We have a Carol as well. As volunteer. Right, we've got 2. That's good.
I'll help on security if that's all right. My name's Darren.
Darren, thank you, Darren. Great. 3, 4. Marion. Yes, come on. Can we make 5? I feel like an auctioneer. 5, anyone? 5. Great. Carla. Fantastic. If I can appeal for all the volunteers to come here at the end, yes?
I'll also help with the security side, Darren.
Fantastic. And your name?
Ulrich, sorry.
Ulrich.
Awesome.
Look at that. 6. We can all the time. That's fantastic. Right.
Before we end, I don't know if any of you have seen the work that Kundai has been doing with Parkhurst Village.
That needs publicity.
He needs a huge amount of publicity. He's a new committee member. He volunteered at last year's committee. His passion was specifically to engage with the school. He has raised funds and rebuilt and refurbished a number of classrooms, but also got a number of professionals involved in a career awareness day, which was incredibly successful. So, you know, have a passion, have an idea, make it happen. And I think we must really congratulate Kundai for the work that he's done there.
The last point I'd like to make when calling for volunteers is there are loads of projects in this community that could be done. We had to appeal online for somebody to run our Halloween project, for example, because we just don't have the capacity. There might be other things that we haven't even thought of yet, which you know about or you've thought about and you thought would be nice for this community. If you've got an idea, come to us, let us know. Tim.
When I was on the committee a long time ago, as then councillor, I used to go out with her, and we used to just go out for an afternoon or an evening or Saturday morning and log the building sites, and then get Captain Nodwaba, those days he was a captain, to go and check, you know, and then we would do street lights and so on. So you don't have to take on a very big portfolio and have to spend out, you know, like all your waking hours on it. It can be just literally a few hours every couple of months.
Thank you.
You know.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
Do you want to handle the election?
Not quite. Look, all right, the one whole point is you don't have to be on the committee, you don't have to commit yourself to the committee, and in fact we're going to elect a committee, but we need more people. We can structure subcommittees that can come along, discuss it, work out what needs to, and work out what needs doing. If you could only, you said this before, I'll say it again, if you could only offer a couple of hours every other month, then sure we can find something to do. We've got jobs that need doing, we've got surveys that need arranging, and we haven't got enough people to do it. Help. Sign.
Chris will officiate. No,
That's your delegation. Right, look, we have to elect 10 members towards a committee. The committee can't be more than 15 members, but you're not allowed to elect more than 10 people at the AGM. And then when we find there's some super active volunteers, we can pull them onto the committee later. We didn't have a proper record of exactly who was elected last year, so we've all decided to retire and some of us are offering to be re-elected if you want to elect us. Otherwise, we'll look for nominations or volunteers to be considered, onwards.
I think the only person who is not wanting to be on the committee again is Natalie. Oh, and Andrew. No, Andrew, not allowed.
Andrew's leaving the country. It's going to be very hard to be the finance minister.
We can have foreign consultants sometimes. Okay, so we've got Natalie and Andrew standing down permanently, not for re-election. The remainder of us will make ourselves re-available. And are there any other of the volunteers who would specifically like to be on the committee?
I'm prepared to be considered for the treasury.
And your name?
Vaughan.
Okay.
But can I say now, if the retiring members of the committee are 10 people, if it is the meeting's desire, whoops, how do I put it? To re-elect the current members who are willing to stand for re-election, then we will go ahead and start co-opting or pulling in the volunteers and filling them.
Okay, so I think what Chris is proposing is that the existing committee members who are standing for re-election be re-elected, and for ease of operation, immediately after this meeting, we will convene a meeting, the volunteers come and they can then be co-opted to make it easier. Natalie?
I would suggest that we do actually formally co-opt Vaughan onto the committee to perform a very specific Right.
That's a proposal.
So it's a counter proposal, so the 8 plus 1 at the station, and then for the committee.
That is a specific
Yeah.
proposal. Do I have a second?
How many members are there? Eight.
Okay, is there a second, please?
Jacques seconded it.
Jacques is seconding. Thank you.
Okay.
Right. Duly done. Are there any objections? Right. Then I will be pleased.
We desperately need someone who is capable of looking after the finance portfolio.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone?
Yes, no.
Oh, four.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you poor thing.
No, Andrew's done an excellent job. It won't be a problem. Okay, I think let's move this along quite well. So we will immediately after this meeting have a committee meeting, select a meeting date, and we can then commence business. So thank you all for that. I think unless there are any other questions or comments, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for coming. Additional thanks and repeated thanks to SAPS for being here. So Morris, if you can come there for us. To the MOTH for hosting, thank you so much. And to Open Brasa for the pizzas, the service of pizza, which kept the wolf just on the door. There are a couple of sizes, a bit cold, but I'm sure they'll be delicious. But they're about that right. So if you are desperate, please help yourself. Thank you to everyone for coming. I take it there are no more questions. We will make ourselves available for discussions afterwards if there's anything else. So, thank you. And yeah, and help us out and please order drinks at the end and support the MOTH.
Sorry guys, hi, I'm Joel. I've been helping out with the environment portfolio with me.
He's been driving it.
So, sorry, 2 things I just want to do is thank Cheryl. I don't think we ever do that. So, it's really in the background and there's lots of stuff happening. So thank you for that, Cheryl. And then the second thing I just wanted to mention to you guys is that you'll specifically see Mondays after we put out our rubbish. The guys will go through our rubbish to pick up the recycling pieces. The streets are quite a mess. We've tried to get a process going where we do like a full suburb cleanup. It's incredibly expensive. If you could just after Mondays, maybe Tuesdays or whenever you've got the time, just clean the little piece in front of your house. Just pick up the litter. I know it's not something we all want to do, but unfortunately that's the only way that's sustainable. I've done quite a bit of research around different options. Unfortunately, one of the big other issues apart from that recycling guys are the domestics and people coming through our suburbs going to sort of like the taxi hubs. So a lot of the other litters are chips, packets and airtime recharge vouchers and stuff like that. That's sort of stuff that's out of our control. We've considered putting bins up and there's some issues around where to place them and there's also maintenance issues around them, getting big enough to actually clear those bins out weekly. If you've got any ideas, please send them through to us. But we can all just focus on the little piece in front of our house every week. That'll be great. Thank you.
And I think also speak to the people who do go through the litter and say, by all means help yourself or try and keep the stuff that they want, keep it separately, have them take it away. And for the most part, if you speak to the litter pickers, they're actually very considerate, they're very nice, they don't want to, receive abuse or anything like that. They're decent human beings, they're trying to make sure. So, let's be reasonable about it.
Hi, just one point. It's a security stroke, entrepreneur, recycler issue, and just to get some feedback, I missed some point we did discuss them as part of the security infrastructure. There is entry turf wars going on between them. I don't know if this is historical, but I can't particularly threatening situation with what's his name? The guy who was in the street? Cornelius, yeah. So, I know it's difficult, it is a crime issue with another guy who said he was foreigner, and because he was a foreigner, he had rights to throw rocks and various other instruments at Cornelius, and it was a white collar dust. But now, is there a process to engage these guys? No, okay. So, I just said, I'm calling the police. If you don't stop, I'm calling the police. I went to the guys who run Texas and I said, the cops arrived. That's why he sorted out this right on thing. Obviously, it happens. We should encourage it not to happen.
I think that's, and also it's just good neighborliness. You behave well towards other people. And report things that are right.
Can I just say two things? I again specifically mentioned the MOTH earlier, who gave us the venue to use tonight. You must really come and support this very good historical heritage. You can see we're busy for upgrading here. Once it's done, it's going to be a very nice venue. You can use it for a function, rent it. Come and support them as well. They need the financial support. And about security, you want to talk to us about Safe Parks and Portac. Those big oaks in the back from Portac are here to answer any questions afterwards. Have a drink and engage with them. We'll come and talk to you about signing up. Otherwise, you're going to forget again, and it's going to be Christmas, and you still say, I want to sign up.
Can I also make another appeal? I'm really sorry. Yeah. One of the biggest environmental issues that we have at the moment is industrial dumping of building waste. And that's because the guys who do the rubble removal just go straight and put it on the straight, all the way up the straight and in most green areas. There is an organization coming out of Diepsloot, if you will believe it, that are working very hard with the rubble removers to ensure that they are both appropriately licensed and take the rubble to the place that they're supposed to. It costs more because they actually have to pay to use the dumps, which is why they're dumping it on the straight instead. So, but we are appealing to the residents. It's not a huge amount of money. We're not in a terribly poor suburb. Please, please, please make sure that you're using rubble removers if you're doing any building that are not going to just dump on the straight. And if you're interested in the contact details of the people who can ensure that, I've got it, and I'll make sure that Greg and Catherine have got it as well.
Thank you. Thanks all. And as I say, please come to the bar, get yourself a drink, do a bit of socialisation. The MOTH do support Gem Homes, which is an old age home, so it's not just a lot of buddies who sit here with raising money to build a brine pit. They actually do a lot of good work. So please support them. Thank you to everyone for coming, and could all the volunteers just come up to the front so that we can get things sorted out?
Yeah, committee meeting as soon now, please. Okay. Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, please sign the green attendance register if you haven't.